Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
We've got two cold weather teams a long way from home, but most importantly, we have sunshine and soccer for both of them coming up right here at the Desert Diamond Cup as our coverage continues right here on MLSsoccer.com. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello there back in the Northeast and up in Chicago. Jonathan Yardley and Neil Sika with you as the New England Revolution and Chicago Fire square off this afternoon in the final group game of the Desert Diamond Cup. Each of these teams will have one more game in the tournament. That'll be on Saturday. And unfortunately, a little bit of the drama has been taken out, although it's preseason. It's not always the point, but Chicago has already clinched a spot in the final of the Desert Diamond Cup, 2-0 in the tournament so far. And the Fire will play Saturday night in the late game against Los Futuros de Chivas. Hey, mi español, sí.
Well done.
On Saturday night, New England playing for placement. Will figure out its matchup after today's games are over. Earlier today, the first game here, no score between Chivas USA and the Colorado Rapids, so hopefully we can provide some goals for you this afternoon. Starting lineups, Chicago, which as Neil mentioned on our first show, has had a heck of a preseason, sending out pretty much its starting group. Sean Johnson starts in goal in a 4-1-4-1 formation. The back four has Lavelle Palmer at right back, John Kennedy Hurtado and Bakari Sumari, the new center back pairing, and Gonzalez Segares, of course, the left back. Jeff Lorenowitz will be the holding midfielder in front of that group. The attacking midfield quartet, Patrick Nyako on the right, Chris Rolfe and Alex inside, and Dilly Duca wide on the left. And up front, Juan Luis Anangano, the 24-year-old designated player. We will see some changes in the second half for Chicago, still mixing and matching groups throughout all of its preseason games. On the New England side, much more of a mixed bag, and probably late in the game we'll see a stronger lineup from the Revolution, but Brad Knighton gets the start in goal, trying to win the starting job in that battle with Bobby Shuttleworth. The back four, well, it's a different looking back four for the Revolution. O'Brien Woodbine, who's been playing left back, is going to start on the right. Darius Barnes and Josimar Sanchez are going to play in the middle, and Donnie Smith going to play at left back. The central midfield trio for the Revs in their 4-3-3, Andy Dorman sitting just behind Steve Newman and Alex Sundley, both rookies. And the attacking trio, Pierre Omonga wide on the right, Dimitri Mbongo wide on the left, Jerry Benson up front for New England. And again, we expect changes for the Revolution to come in the second half, but probably not at halftime. Neil, you've seen these teams in action the last week. I saw them back in Bradenton several weeks ago. What stood out to you on either side that you're kind of curious to get a look at today?
Well, for Chicago, I think it was simply implementing what they wanted to do with their starters. They were going against an FC Tucson club that clearly was sitting back. So for Chicago, it was possessing, it was picking their spots. They had a nice goal from Sumari, who now some of that pressure is off in the central defense with the trading away of Austin Berry now to Philadelphia for some allocation money. For New England, high-octane stuff, continuing with some exciting soccer in the way they attacked in that first half. Built a 2-0 lead against Chivas, but I know Jay Heaps was not happy with the way they finished against the Goats, gave up 3 consecutive.
Preseason soccer underway from the Keno Sports Complex in Tucson in the North Stadium. Chicago, of course, in all red, going right to left in this first half. The New England Revolution in navy blue with the red trim going left to right. And we should mention for Chicago, of course, the big question around the Fire is the status of Mike McGee, the league's Golden Boot winner last year. is not with the team on personal leave, is what the club is saying. Of course, there was a media report out of Chicago stating that he was looking to renegotiate his contract. The Fire have said that there are no talks ongoing with that, so he's just on personal leave from the club at the moment, but surely a worry for every Fire fan as the season just less than 2 weeks away.
With the alignment of how the Fire play this 4-1-4-1 under new coach Frank Yallop, kind of filled in that role of where McGee would be as Alex, and he's had a very good preseason so far. He was strong in Bradenton. He scored the first goal against FC Tucson on Saturday.
And right away for New England, we see a slight shift in the starting lineup, and it makes some sense. Josimar Sanchez is at right back, where he's been for most of the preseason, and O'Brien Woodbine is playing inside alongside Darius Barnes, so slight adjustment to what we were told initially, but Donnie Smith, who is already way up on the left, is the nominal left back at the moment. Jeff Lorenowitz broke that play up for Chicago, but the foul whistled by our referee today, Fotis Bizakos, the linesman Corey Rockwell, and Brandon Major. And the Revs restart with a long switch to Dimitri Mbongo, running at Zagaris. Mbongo onto the left, lets it go, and misses cleanly. But it's the earlier shot, certainly, than we had in the first game, where all of them seem to come from set pieces.
Always been impressed with the strength, presence of Mbongo, what he creates for himself. Sometimes when he's 1v2, working out of space. You know, Jonathan, you were talking about Donnie Smith. Chance for him to get minutes here in the preseason, especially at left back, with Chris Tierney nursing back to health.
Tierney is on the game day roster and could see some action in the second half. There's Sumari, lost his footing a little. They did water the field just before kickoff and went all the way back to Johnson. This long ball breaks free. It's Ship on the right, trying to play it across, looking for Anand Gano, and it's knocked away, comes back to Harry Ship. Still looking, here's Duca. Shot is blocked. And Dilly Duca misses the far post. Couple of looks for Duca. One was on goal but blocked, and the other he pushed wide.
A great little dummy and layoff from Anand Gano. And Duca, a guy who's coming off a career best season last year for the Fire, 2 bites at it. Another one scorched a little bit wide. He's still got that jersey in him as Brian Bliss, his technical director at Columbus and here in Chicago. Some new life after things went sour in the 6-1-4 toward the tail end of his time there.
And I will tell you, I did read you the wrong starting midfield for Chicago, so that's on me. It's Hoya and Ship in the midfield with Alex and Duca. I was reading the projected lineup as opposed to the actual lineup, so preseason form up here as well. But Hoya and Ship in with a lot of the starters for Chicago. A good chance for them, as you mentioned, Alex and Duca, more regulars in the midfield for the Fire.
Excited to see a guy like Hoya play. They were high on him and got involved in that weighted lottery to bring him in. February 5th was when it was done. Santos Laguna player, U20 guy, the guy that Brian Bliss is familiar with. He was an assistant coach for Tab Ramos there. McGallop, not so sure, is this given away.
Newman tried to slip that one through, and a hard shot coming through from Alex Sunley, tipped over by Sean Johnson.
Now, Sean Johnson's always had excellent reaction. And here with Sunley busting through, he had to be on point after the giveaway in the back. Going back to seeing the young players like Ship and Hoya today for the Fire. Brian Bliss said, yeah, we need to get in on this guy, try and get in on the weighted lottery. And after a week of Frank Yallop seeing him, he said, I'm sold.
Steve Newman, the rookie out of Georgetown, to deliver the corner for New England. Headed away at the near post by Anand Gano. Donnie Smith tries to play it back in, dealt with easily by Lavelle Palmer, and New England will collect at the halfway line. Hoya set up a goal in his first game in the preseason for Chicago, scored in the second. He and Harry Ship played well together and in there together again today. Just underway, 6th minute from Tucson. Chicago in red, New England in navy blue. Two teams with so many playoff matchups over the years, playing with somewhat less at stake today in one of the final preseason tune-ups, though, before things get underway March 8th.
Well, it was a great season for New England last year, finishing on a very strong note. Of course, eliminated in the conference semifinals by Sporting Kansas City, the eventual champs, but for that long drought of not making the playoffs, when you thought about the Steve Nicol clubs, the institution that was New England and postseason soccer. For Jay Heaps, they've drafted well. They've got a lot of good young talent. Jose Gonçalves comes in, shores up the back. The growth was fun to watch. Now, they lose a guy like Juan Agudelo off to Stoke, but with the likes of Patrick Mullins and Steve Newman, they feel they got 2 great picks in the draft.
And then you go and trade for Teal Bunbury, and really a team that's still loaded up top.
Scored a beauty of a goal on Saturday.
I was up there for part of the playoff chase in New England last year, and it was fun to feel the excitement around the Revolution again. First time making the playoffs in 4 years as Jerry Benson chases this one. Sean Johnson was off his line, and in the end, Hurtado clears it. Newman to throw in on this near side. Missed the early part of preseason due to injury, but has stepped in comfortably into the midfield lately. That switch ran between Mbongo and Donnie Smith, and Lavelle Palmer ushers it out for a Chicago throw. Palmer, another one of those same faces, new places, going from Real Salt Lake to the Fire. 4th team in MLS, began his career with Houston and then moved to Portland.
Of course, had the ill-fated penalty off the crossbar in the Cup final last year.
Lorenowitz with a sliding tackle to knock that one backward, and in the end, Dorman was able to get it back to Brad Knighton. Yeah, and of all the people to deal with something like that, Lavelle Palmer may be one of the best suited to it. He's really, whenever I've talked to him about it, whenever I've seen media interviews asking him about it, he kind of understands PKs are a lottery, you know, and he drew the losing ticket that day.
And with all the twists and turns in that shootout, the one euphoric high of Salt Lake thinking they were going to win, and then Velasquez misses. Key stops, really dramatic.
Hoya tried to get by Smith over there. Woodbine helping out with some cover, and the ball knocked free into the midfield. Bongo was calling for it. The pass instead went toward Newman from Benson, and he lost his footing.
Well, that sequence started with Piero Manga doing a nice job holding things up at midfield. 3rd-round pick out of Southern New Hampshire. He's the Division II Player of the Year. Put in 21 goals in his final season.
This one where this guy, he turns 26 in April. He's international, so you've got both age and international slot against you as far as earning a contract, but he's still here, and so that's a really good sign that Jay Heaps still wants to see more of him. Doesn't guarantee him anything, but he's getting a look. Tenth minute, no score. New England's had a couple of chances, one of which Sean Johnson tipped high. At the other end, Dilly Duca misfired from a wide angle for Chicago. Its best chance. Here's Segares. Snuck that one through for Duca. Duca tried to dribble into the area. In the end, it's tackled out of bounds off of his shin for a New England goal kick. Already the 6th game of the day today in Major League Soccer preseason action. 2 finals already at the Disney Pro Soccer Classic in Orlando, plus a scrimmage. Our first game here finished 0-0. And I know Seattle and Houston are underway in Charleston. Action later tonight in Portland as well. Doubleheader there as part of the Rose City Invitational.
Those poor folks in Orlando dealing with the downpours all day long. Look at us with this spectacular sunshine.
Our hearts go out to them.
It's been a great event, it really has. 4th year of the Desert Diamond Cup.
And each year, definitive improvements. And I mean, talking infrastructure, we were here last year. Nothing compared to this stadium that, as Neil said, opened last fall. And they're really going to have, I think, an exciting year in the PDL as this club continues to grow. Made that run in the Open Cup last year that earned them a lot of attention, and deservedly so. We'll see FC Tucson in the nightcap taking on Real Salt Lake. Chicago has a throw-in supposed to be near the halfway line, and Segares throws back to Sumari. Again, they target Hoya over there, and Donnie Smith able to cover it for New England. There's Omanga again, running against Palmer. And Lavelle Palmer brings it back to Johnson. That one skipped out of the reach of the veteran Segares. Now in his 10th MLS season, product of VCU. Brief stint in Scandinavia, but I think his heart was always in Chicago. Came back to the Fire.
Playing in Cyprus, that's more like a vacation stint. You've been to the Greek Isles.
I have, not to Cyprus, not like the U.S. national team, but
no,
I have been there. This is Hoya on the right, forward for Alex. Good look for Lorenowitz, but it was out of his reach, and it was broken up by Dorman, who got hammered by Jeff Lorenowitz, and the foul whistled in the center circle.
You can see that pressure extension of what Jay Heaps' group wants to do when you take it out wide.
I don't think Jeff Lorenowitz is familiar with the preseason level of effort. He's going to play at postseason effort pretty much every second. This is Dorman trying to start things for New England. His second stint with the team. He didn't play a whole lot last year until the end, and then found himself starting in the playoffs. Ship trying to play that one through, and it was headed away alertly by Alex Sunley. Rookie out of Cal, trying to earn a spot in the Revolution midfield. Lorenowitz with his head up. Gets it back from Duca. All of Chicago's midfielders push centrally, letting their outside backs go forward at the moment. Sumari really off the mark with that one, but New England, instead of intercepting it, just kind of knocked it right back to the Fire. Good win by Anand Gano. Ship gonna hit it from distance, and it's right at Brad Knight. But again, that positive play from Harry Ship. We've seen him around the ball. He's not a big guy, he's not a flashy guy, but he seems to find himself involved with scoring chances every time he's out there.
That showed confidence right there off the volley, just taking a crack. Patient Fire midfield trying to work that through.
One ball over the top. Sumari gets it back to Johnson, who had an awkward bounce, and it ends up with Lavelle Palmer on the right sideline. Just a little bit of shade where Lavelle Palmer found himself there. Tuca being held by Dorman, and after waiting to see if an advantage developed, the foul whistled. Fire take it quickly. Here's Benji Hoya in the box. Hoya playing it across, knocked away by Darius Barnes. Omanga drops it off for Sunley for New England, and here's Dorman, who finally gets a little time on the ball. Sunley deals with the pressure from Ship and switches it for O'Brien Woodbine. Newman overhit that a bit, but Sanchez able to keep it in. Mbongo so good with his back to goal. Held off Cigaris there. Have you lost count of the passes at this point? As soon as I say that, Lavelle Palmer steps in for Chicago. You needed a clicker on that one.
That's right.
Dilly Duca has on Gano up the middle, couldn't find him, and drops it off for Ship. Fire Academy product, of course, Ship. And the most outstanding player of the College Cup last year for Notre Dame, and as his teammates will tell you, one of, if not the smartest guy on the team. Long switch for Hoya here. Duca's cross, too far for Anand Gano, and it runs all the way across the box. But Dilly Duca, nominally a left midfielder, felt comfortable switching over there to help Hoya and get the crossing.
I'm always seeing him make darting runs down the sideline time and time again. Loves to cut in, coming off the left, inside to the right. He's kind of got that shifty, salamandery movement. Led to an earlier free kick, and there he was left unabated, really, with the overload to that far side of the field.
Well, he's definitely not a true wing, and Chicago, other than Nyako, doesn't have a whole lot of true wings. They've got a lot of guys who like to cut inside, and Duca fits into that.
Compliment that with the guy who's a pure blazer on the outside of Nyako. From the pairing that started wide on Saturday. Give your fullbacks fits.
Sumari again left to start the attack, feeds Alex in the middle of the field. Got away from Sunley and feeds Lavelle Palmer. Palmer's cross knocked away by Woodbine and out for a Chicago corner kick, but that was an instance of sustained pressure opening up a gap.
Yeah, it starts with the confidence and calmness on the ball of a guy like Sumari. He's your choice A center back now. Austin Berry, who started over 60 games in his Fire career. Whether you want to talk about that freeing up money to work on Mike McGee's contract, but of course you incur the services of John Kennedy, Hurtado, and Yanni in the off-season trade, so it gives you some options now in central defense.
Harry Ship's corner kick headed away at the near post by Sunley. Benson chases for New England and gets there first, but can't keep it in play.
Benson entering his third season with New England. Some promising polish on his first year and missed so many games last season with international duty. Couldn't really find a consistent spot. But the way some of those youngsters were playing, the emergence of a guy like Kellen Rowe, Lee Wynn had a fine season.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't produced, right? He's scored 2 goals in his first 5 games for New England. Since then, he's played 24 games and he's scored once.
Yep.
And we're talking league games. And you're right, some of that is he hasn't been able to get the continuity and the regular stints with the team. He's off with Honduras so much, and he will be again this year. Called into their recent camp and is, assuming he stays healthy, virtually a lock for the World Cup roster. Sumari trying to start the attack again. This is Duca. Neat footwork, but his chip was handled well by Mbongo getting back defending. This is Newman. Trying to feed Mbongo. They weren't on the same page, and the ball turns over. And Newman a little frustrated. Mbongo just stood there, let Newman run right past him to apply pressure. That one broken up by Andy Dorman neatly for New England. Chicago letting Sumari, and to a lesser degree Hurtado, but especially Sumari, play the opening pass and start the attack quite a bit today. And you feel like that's maybe an area they felt he was an upgrade over Austin Berry. This long ball targeted Newman. He was cleaned out by Hurtado, and the foul is whistled. And Steve Newman still down. John Kennedy Hurtado immediately pointed to the ball saying he was playing the ball, and he may have been, but boy did he clean out Steve Newman.
Yeah, he got the back of his head on that challenge, and for the first time over the last 10 minutes, New England going a little direct over the top. That's what worked to success against Chivas in the first 20 minutes, going at their center back pairing. This is a little bit different though than Bobby Burling and Andrew Jean-Baptiste. It's really because of the organizational structure they have in the midfield, and Lorenowitz making sure those four in front of him. Been tough to break down and possess into the attacking half. But here's an opportunity on the free kick.
So Newman will step off the field briefly, and they'll make sure he's properly assessed and checked out before he continues. In the meantime, New England with this free kick. And Andy Dorman standing over it from 25 yards away. An extended discussion between Fotis Bazakos and the wall. It's Andy Dorman, blocked by the wall. He wanted a handball call, which is what all the discussion had been about. He didn't get it. Smith's cross deflected. All of the discussion had been whether the Chicago players were allowed to bring their hands up when jumping to block it. And Andy Dorman claiming his shot was blocked by a hand. In the end, I think they're trying to find a new soccer ball on the far side. It was deflected off to a different part of the complex.
The part with shade.
We watched games here last year, and this was a practice field. None of these grandstands or scoreboards were here. As the offside flag goes up against Benson. And a tremendous amount of work done in a year. And they will have a heck of a venue for a PDL team when play starts this spring.
And we were talking with Rick Shantz, and we got the game coming up against Real Salt Lake. Rick Shantz, their head coach, played for the Tucson Amigos way back when. Fixture on the Portland soccer scene, great guy, and kind of hinting at maybe a likely partnership with an MLS club that could help them achieve that status. They'd have a nice rivalry just up I-10 with Phoenix FC, who's also in USL Pro.
Well, and should FC Tucson make the jump to USL Pro, and it may be a matter of when and not if, there will be MLS teams looking, because the Reserve League goes away after this season, and MLS teams will either be required to field a team in USL Pro or partner with an existing team. And we know about so many of those partnerships, New England's with Rochester, but several teams are going to be looking for partners, because it costs a lot of money to field your own team. So the last two times we've seen Chicago ask their center backs to start the attack, and they just hit long balls that were not near anybody. Sunley tried to feed him Bongo. Got a little lucky with his first touch, but uses the other three to evade three Chicago players and draw a foul in the center circle.
Well, even though you've got a big, bulky guy who's good with his back to goal, that's asking a lot. And you're essentially taking on 5 in the midfield.
He's such a player of contradictions, because he's enormous, he's physical, but he actually has great touch most of the time. And then he has moments where his effort is exemplary, and he has moments where his effort is lacking. Benson tried to play that one through for Newman, but didn't hit it properly. And Sean Johnson clears for Chicago. Darius Barnes had an arm high, but his head even higher, and won that one. It turns over to Chicago. Ship with a neat turn there to get it out to Palmer. Now back to Harry Ship. No score, 25th minute, Chicago and New England. Probably already had more good scoring chances from the run of play in this one than we did in our first one. But a lot of those were in the first 15 minutes. It's really settled into a bit more of a training exercise feel over the last 10.
I'm just hoping we get a goal today at some point.
This one touched through for Anand Gano. Alex trying to get into the box. Cross comes in and is deflected out for the second Chicago corner kick of the afternoon.
Well, here on the flip side, a guy we've talked about in Bongo, and then you got your big Ecuadorian up there brought in, creating a lot of chances. Maybe they're, of course, looking for him to score a few more goals this season, put it away. Good first-time effort there to draw the corner.
Well, in this system, he's going to be up there by himself. He's going to have attacking midfielders helping him, but he's going to be asked to hold the ball a fair amount. Ship's corner, better delivery headed by Hurtado, and Brad Knighton claims the second ball. Hurtado's header took a deflection off a New England head before Brad Knighton was able to hold on to it. Knighton targets Mbongo here. And Mbongo ends up getting called for the foul. Knighton really was lining that one up, and this is a guy who had 2 assists last year. You don't see that in a career a lot of times for a goalkeeper, let alone in a season. When he was with Vancouver, 1.36 goals against average last year for Brad Knighton.
And those 11 games he played were all consecutive starts. He's certainly in the mix for the goalkeeping position. If you took any part of the field for New England after losing really the legendary Matt Reese and the way he concluded his career down the stretch, guiding them into the playoffs, Bobby Shuttleworth got the majority of the minutes in the first half of the year, but Knighton was able to negotiate his way into a trade prior to be put into the re-entry draft.
We have a delay here as Dimitri Mbongo reties his shoes. I'm not sure that's a qualified reason for a delay, but that's what's going on here. He's not hurt, he's just relacing his boots. But yes, Brad Knighton and Bobby Shuttleworth competing for that starting job throughout the preseason, and I know who my money's on, and it's the man in there right now. The last 2 years with Vancouver, I feel like he's won the starting job twice, and each time kind of been denied it in the end.
The trials and tribulations of the old MLS season, right?
And of MLS young goalkeepers trying to earn playing time.
Yeah. That was the longest shoe tie I think I've seen in 10 years.
He went on each,
like a toddler,
on each crossover lace individually to loosen it and retie it. Fotis Bisacco stood over him the entire time. I don't know if he was helping him with the process or what. Inexplicable. Anand Gano did well to get ahead to that, but it's going to run to the corner, and Sanchez will have a throw for New England. Here's Mbongo trying to hold off Segaris. Lorenowitz comes over to help, and between the two of them, they do win it for Chicago. Here's Hoya coming inside to find the ball. Now goes out with it to Palmer.
Just a simple little pass to the outside, but the quick decisiveness, quality of a young guy like Hoya to know that, to turn out of the 2-man front, work it wide, is something you can't teach.
The comfort level both he and Ship have, turning with the ball under pressure. You know, they turn and there's a man on them, and they don't panic, they don't just boot it. They're able to find somebody. It's been very impressive, and it's preseason. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. Here's a chance, and it's blocked by the New England back line. It's Duca let fly from the top of the box, and now the Revolution able to clear. But I think the fact that these guys are getting a run out with this group of players today bodes well for both Ship and Hoya, whether it's for minutes off the bench or a spot start here and there.
Well, there's midfield depth to be had for Chicago. Joel Impairs now over in Czech Republic. Arevalo Rios. Just a brief little stop toward the end of the season last year. They need a good support staff behind the guys you got pegged into the starting role right now.
Ship put a good curl on that one to get it out to Palmer, who headed it on for Hoya. Donnie Smith trying to deal with it for New England. Omanga comes away with it. Newman feeding Benson in the left corner, waiting for some help in the box. Omanga he's targeting, and John Kennedy Hurtado got there first for Chicago. Anand Gano chases 2 headers in succession and barges through Josimar Sanchez and is whistled for a foul. on the second one. Afternoon sun, a little barbecue smoke over in the corner. Some good preseason soccer on this Wednesday afternoon.
Those Desert Ninjas, they got the finale, their final game in this tournament. Their fans.
You didn't want to name the other supporters group?
Starting to tailgate.
We're going over there between games, right?
That's the plan.
Mbongo tried to juggle the ball up to himself. Cigaris denied him that opportunity, and Duca clears. Well won by Darius Barnes, Duke product. And the flag is up on this near sideline, as Mbongo couldn't keep the ball in play.
Kind of hard to believe Darius Barnes 5 years ago played every minute of every game. Now, granted, that was kind of in the rebuilding stages, the early parts, the tail end of the nickel era.
He made 72 starts out of 90 in a 3-year span, and over the last 2 years only made 15 starts.
In 2009, the Revs did get into the playoffs, but it required a Lorenowitz, then Rev free kick on the last day of the regular season. Well, this first half kind of a testament to the improved defense, the security of what Chicago's brought into the mix, and New England playing within even, not maybe having their regular defenders, but knowing how positionally sound they are. This is a defense that was 3rd in the league in goals allowed, just very airtight.
And Nangano, huge strides to chase that one down. And in the end, he gets the foul call this time. It'll be a free kick to Chicago on that left sideline. Really made up ground in a hurry running against Barnes there. But yeah, you'd probably give a slight edge to New England given that there's more Chicago starters on the field. But other than that, I think we've seen individuals on both teams do well for themselves. One of them has the ball in his hands, Harry Shipp. Here's Duca, he's been active. That one into the box, deflection coming, and Brad Knighton with a huge stop. Duca gonna play it back in again. This one not as good, and Dorman able to clear. Was that Lorenowitz who got ahead to it? And late on a tackle there was Hurtado, and a yellow card coming for John Kennedy Hurtado. It'll be the 34th minute on that yellow card, but it was the 33rd minute when Duca played the cross in. Brad Knighton really got down quickly to his right to make the save.
Had innate ability of Lorenowitz just to put himself in the right spots. Great ball in by Duca. Fantastic save by Knighton to keep this scoreless.
That's our play of the day so far.
Probably in both games, right?
I would take it. They try to target Josimar Sanchez off the free kick, but it's overhit and runs out for a goal kick. New England 3rd in the Eastern Conference last year. Chicago was 6th on tiebreakers after tying Montreal for 5th. Both teams expect to be in the hunt for the playoffs this season, as I think just about every Eastern Conference team would tell you. And given the acquisitions by Toronto and Philadelphia, why not? Here's Mbongo. Gets his head up, tries to target Newman. It runs all the way through for Omanga at the back door. Back out for Donnie Smith. Mbongo trying to sneak to the back post. They target him, and Sean Johnson got there first. The offside flag did not go up. Don't know if it would have or not, but Sean Johnson with a good claim for the Fire. Again, we expect to see Chicago's changes probably at halftime. New England's likely to come later in the second half. Dorman tries to go over the top there, dealt with by Sumari. Good touch by Sanchez. This is a guy who was drafted last year, but hasn't really been healthy in a long time, since the end of his collegiate career at UConn. So finally gets an extended chance this preseason to earn a spot, and again, he's still here. That's the good sign. Doesn't guarantee him anything beyond that. Extended look. Here's Newman, tried to sneak one through for Omanga, and Sean Johnson does very well to come off his line and snare that one.
Big year for the 24-year-old keeper coming up. Picked up Nick Raimondo with the Gold Cup. Got that fantastic reactionary ability to make a great save, which he did early on. We'll have his lean moments too, looking for that full and consistent breakout season.
Neat movement by Chicago. Sets Palmer free on the right. And his cross drifts out over the top of the net. Ended up being more of a shot, and had it been on frame, Brad Knighton would have had it covered.
Well, every day is game day with MLS Live. Watch hundreds of live and archive games on your phone, tablet, or computer with MLS Live. Visit live.mlssoccer.com for more information or to subscribe. To watch this league on a regular basis, you gotta have it.
Makes every game a nationally broadcast game. Here's Mbongo in the right corner against Segares. Tried a couple of tricks, and Gonzalo Segares was not fooled. Good touch by Barnes to get around a man. Dangerous touch, but it worked for him. New England will go back to Brad Knighton again. Targeted Benson this time. I don't know that he was expecting it. Just seemed to be caught flat-footed there. And it'll run out for a New England throw-in. Omanga trying to get a step on Palmer. Does come away with the ball. And now comes away with more than a step on it. Tries a step over, now cuts back and is felled by Benji Hoya, about 20 yards off the end line.
You can see Chicago ratchet up the pressure just a little bit more over the last 3 minutes or so, but a little bit of over-aggression off on the right side, and that allowed a run free from Omanga, who's showcased himself in a couple situations quite nicely here in the first half.
Dorman again stands over the ball as O'Brien Woodbine joins the attack for New England. Dorman's delivery, and Sean Johnson punched a player straight in the back instead of the ball. The flag was up for offside. Actually, it was Dorman in the box, and it was Sunley sending that one in, or Newman, one of the rookies with a 4 in his number. And Dorman really got cleaned out there by Johnson. I don't know if he got any of the ball in that. Gano wins another header, but Brad Knighton out to get it in front of Alex. That's the problem with someone up top by yourself like Anand Gano. You can flick on a header all you want, but if there aren't any other forwards with you, it's not going to help. Knighton mishit that one, but it knuckles to the corner. Fire will collect it back there.
And here you can see a case where a guy like Shipp is still learning. You have a McGee or even a Rolfe out there. The combination play, the ability, if Anand Gano can hold the ball up, to work off that. So looking in that true false 9 cents.
Sumari mishit that one, to say the least, and Sanchez will have a throw. Both these teams will be back in action on Saturday. Chicago will have the late game against Los Futuros de Chivas. And New England will have a game to be determined, either at 3 Eastern or at 5:30 Eastern. Chicago's game will be at 7 o'clock Central. I keep my time zone straight. I've been through a couple of them this week. I think between you and I, we've covered all of them this week, in fact.
Well, new season, New Jersey. The Revolution has a new primary kit for the 2014 season, and your first chance to see it is Tuesday, March 4th. Join the Revs players at Royale Boston for a special fashion show and the jersey launch. For more information, visit revolutionsoccer.net.
Jersey week coming up for all of Major League Soccer. Some we have seen, some we have not. Some we have seen snippets of via Twitter. Anand Gano that time drew a foul from Woodbine. Chicago thinking about taking this one early. Ship targets Segaris. And ball skipped on him and ran out of bounds.
Fire will have a new shirt amongst those that'll be revealed.
I think I've seen a couple snapshots of that. Kind of a gradient.
Yeah, I kind of like what I see.
Yeah. Sumari won that one from Benson. Juggles forward with maybe 5 touches. That was pretty impressive. Gets it inside. Pass just ran away from Ship, but he was able to keep it moving. Hoya shoots from distance, and Brad Knighton does have to move toward his left-hand post before covering it. The youngster's not shy about hitting it. Third save for Knighton in this first half. Sean Johnson just with the one. Hurtado won that header. It'll be a throw for New England. 2.5 to play in the first half. From the Keno Sports Complex in Tucson, Jonathan Yardley, Neil Sika, glad you could join us. We know you picked us over the Seattle-Houston game, and we're grateful. That one will be a free kick to New England, and John Kennedy Hurtado, sitting on a yellow card, decided to throw that ball away from New England. Not sure about that. It's an indirect kick. And Newman, I'm certain it's him this time, stands over it. Now we're ready. Here it comes from Newman. It's low, deflected by Alex in the wall. Anand Gano heads the second one away. And Bongo on the sideline got it forward for either Sanchez or Woodbine. In the end, it's a foul against Woodbine. He did manage to keep the ball in, but he took out the big body of Bakari Sumari in the process. Woodbine did sign with the Revolution at the end of last season, just in August. Didn't really have time to get integrated into the Revs before the playoff push. Johnson on his left foot there, got it away in the direction of Anand Gano, leaning backward on Barnes and able to win it. Some good touches to Segaris. Segaris got it back. Now plays it in right-footed, and it's going to fall to Lavelle Palmer in the opposite corner. Chance for Chicago. Goes back door, and Mbongo will let it run out for a New England throw. Couple of crosses there, one from each side for Chicago. Neither really with the kind of timing the Fire had in mind. Brad Knighton's save in the 33rd minute, the key play in this first half. It was on a header from Jeff Lorenowitz. As we're into first half stoppage time, they did announce a minute of stoppage time, most of it for Dimitri Mbongo's shoe tying. Call it shoelace time. Benji Hoya down in the center circle for Chicago, but gets to his feet gingerly.
He caught legs with Omanga, but he had excellent footwork to win that ball, which is the possession they now have.
He played it forward to Anand Gano, kept it moving. Alex going backward for 20 yards, plays it backward for 40 more. And that creates the angle for Sumari. All day to step forward, tries to feed Cigaris. Josimar Sanchez heads it comfortably back to Brad Knight. And that'll do it on the first half. Fotis Bazakos blows for halftime. No score. A couple of chances early for each team, and then we kind of settled into, let's keep the ball, pass it around and see what opens up. Neil, do you give an edge to either team in that first half?
Chicago had a little bit more of the ball. This guy right here, Dilly Duca, did well. He had the early shots in the first few minutes of the game. Had the ball that he whipped in that Lorenowitz nearly poked in with the first goal, and Bongo's presence. More midfield work. You've got a young midfield there for New England, but organizationally, structurally, very sound for both teams. Not really given a whole lot when you get into that final third.
Good first half, active first half. No score, though, between Chicago and New England at the break. We'll take one of our own, come back in about 15 minutes with second half action, and maybe a goal finally from New England and Chicago here in Tucson. We'll take a break and come right back right here on MLSsoccer.com. Back here in Tucson, and second half action underway at the Desert Diamond Cup between the New England Revolution and the Chicago Fire. Jonathan Yardley and Neil Sika with you on this Wednesday afternoon. Glad you could join us. We're still looking for our first goal of the day, a game and a half in. First game was scoreless between Chivas USA and the Colorado Rapids, and that result meant that Chicago has already clinched a spot in Saturday night's tournament final. In our second game, scoreless through the first half, though we did have some scoring chances, and we're just underway in the second between the Revolution in navy blue and the Fire in all red. Chicago has changed its entire team. We will give you that lineup shortly. New England has made 2 changes, so it's much easier to track in that sense. Andy Dorman is out, replaced by the 29-year-old Spaniard Gorka Larrea, just with the Revs on trial, playing in the holding midfield spot. And Jamal Johnson is in for Pierre Omanga at one of the forward spots. Johnson, a 23-year-old, he'll turn 24 in April. His last club was in Austria, former U.S. under-17 international. For Chicago, and I think I'm reading you the right lineup this time, Kyle Rainish steps in goal, back in MLS, former RSL man, won the NASL Golden Glove Award last year with the New York Cosmos. The back line is Thomas Piermeyer, an Austin trialist, on the right, Patrick Ianni, and Stephen Kinney. Kinney normally an outside back, pushed into the middle today with Ianni. And Hunter Jumper at left back. This is Piermeyer on the ball right now, going long in the direction of the new front man, Quincy Amarikwa, and Brad Knighton off his line for New England. Logan Pause will hold just in front of Chicago's back four. The midfield quartet, newly signed Marco Franco, draft pick out of UC Irvine, is on the right side of the midfield, listed as a right back, but pushed up into the midfield in this game. Victor Pineda and Yazid Atuba, the young guns in the middle of the field, Giuseppe Gentili wide on the left, and the aforementioned Amarikwa up front for Chicago. That's the second half lineup for the Fire. New England is going to make some more changes as the day goes on, but they do return 9 of 11 players.
Halftime substitutions now playing for the New England Revolution. Number 51, Isabel Johnson, and number 43, Arvin Okajimi. And for the Chicago Fire,
got that one forward, and if Bongo is offside, the flag is up, and now the whistle blows as well. Sunny Wednesday afternoon here, and the sun's going to be in our eyes. The vast majority of the spectators shaded from it, as well as the team benches here at the Keno Sports Complex in Tucson. North Stadium was formerly the North Field. New England playing a closed-door scrimmage here last year, and it was just a couple of benches and field markings, and now we've got infrastructure here. Franco steps in inside and feeds a tuba. Looking for the overlap with Jumper. It's broken up by Gorka Larrea for New England. And Patrick Ianni stepped forward and knocked that one up into the grandstand. Third MLS club for Patrick Ianni. Began his career in Houston. The last couple of years in Seattle, even won a disputed, but nevertheless won, Goal of the Year award. Now with Chicago. Chicago on the far side of the field. That was Gentili trying to cut inside, and he was knocked away by O'Brien Woodbine. Here's Pineda. To Franco. Pineda moving off the ball against the return pass. O'Brien Woodbine gets there first, however. He knocks it out for Chicago. Pineda, really a guy Frank Gallup has been pleased with. Hasn't been able to find his way on the field very much in the first couple years of his career. This one falls in the box. Still loose. Falls to Gentili trying to get to his left, and he fires it high. A scrambling, but in the end, no test for Brad Knight.
Giuseppe trying to make a name for himself. Good engine motor. He had the initial run coming down the wing. Kid who signed with MLS was taken in the waiver draft. He decided to opt out his last year at Charlotte. His former teammate there, Donnie Smith, on the other side of the field. That team went all the way to the College Cup final a couple years ago, lost to North Carolina. always the intriguing part of the preseason too, John. Winding down, it seemed like to fire some of these guys. Looking for minutes, looking for a roster spot, earning a name for themselves. You saw that first unit kind of doing their due diligence, typical preseason game. Don't want to get hurt. Right out the way.
These guys are a little hungry, you're saying.
Yeah.
Knight over hits that one. Will be collected briefly by Rainer. This is a Tuba. The first touch to Pineda. Tries to turn out of trouble and is knocked down by Bongo without much regard for the ball. It's a free kick to the Fire. Chipped in the direction of America. He stayed on side to the dismay of the Revolution backline. Franklin, not a big guy, but very good with his back to goal. And this system really could be a good fit for him. This one deflects, falls to Pineda on the left. Trying to feed America, broken up briefly by Sunland. And now a foul whistled against the young Victor Pineda.
Marquette had goal in their first game against Colorado, that 2-1 victory. 6-0 preseason. Just that flawless record, at least in terms of wins. In jeopardy here with Bagel still on the board.
Quincy America, pretty good goals to minute ratio. 3 goals in 299 minutes last year. He's pushing for a few more this year. Jonathan Yardley, Neil Sika with you from Tucson. We're glad you could join us. We know you're not going to get to see your teams in person for a little while because both of these teams start the season with back-to-back road games. New England will be at Houston and at Philadelphia. Chicago starts at Chivas, then plays at Portland. Both teams will start with day games at home the weekend of March 22nd and 23rd. The Revs will take on Vancouver, 2 o'clock start time on March 22nd. Fire will take on the New York Red Bulls in a revenge match of sorts, I'm sure. Sunday, March 23rd at 2 o'clock. There's Stephen Kinney for the Fire, moving it outside to Pierre. Trying to get it out to Jumper. This one deflected, broken up by Newman for New England. Jerry Benson looking for some help. Back to Newman, and he's run over by Hunter Jumper. It'll be a free kick chance for New England on that far side.
I like the discipline of what Steve Newman has to offer New England in the middle. Positional sense, gets himself into good spots. Good organizer. That fantastic career at Georgetown.
Number 4 pick, wearing number 4. And he'll deliver here. Over the penalty spot, headed away with a dive, headed back in. Here's Mbongo turning for New England. Move to his left foot, and the cross is blocked out for a corner kick. First of the half for New England, and it's second of the game. Should see Patrick Mullins, the Revs' other first-round selection, later on in the game. It's their number 4 man, Newman, to deliver here. Back post, Rainish didn't get to it, and then Pineda pokes it away for Chicago. Sanchez curled it back in, and anybody who might have been making a run was probably offside. It'll be a goal kick for Kyle Rainish.
It's a good ball and delivery. The 4th pick, hoping to become another famous Steve in Foxborough. all-time greats, Steve Ralston.
Tilly working back with the ball for Chicago. Sanchez won that header in the direction of Newman, who took a tumble again. Here's Woodbine.
Go at him! Go at him! Joe's it!
Alex Sunley kept things simple there to keep it alive for the Revolution. Rhea with that mop of blonde hair in the middle of the field. Hard challenge between Johnson and it looked like Patrick Ianni, and a clear foul on Johnson. Patrick Ianni wanted something a little more than just a plain old foul. In the end, we'll get another boot tying delay. We had one for New England at this end, one for Chicago at the other end. You see something new every day. See if we can get Patrick and Dimitri together after the game, demonstrate their form. Talk about a behind-the-scenes video. That would be a good one. Break him in now. No score, 58th minute from the Desert Diamond Cup in Tucson, Arizona. Sun in soccer on a Wednesday afternoon, and you're experiencing colder climes. Hope to give you an escape for a couple of hours. Kiermaier, no pressure, safely chested it towards Stephen Kinney. First touch by Atuba, harassed by Sunley. There's some good movement there. Pause on the ball. Franco moving inside, blocked by Sunley. Chicago wanted a handball. Bongo tried to feed Benson. Poacher style he has. He was able to deal with it. Jumper lifting that one forward for Gentili, but the ball had already run out just in front of the Chicago bench. It'll be a throw-in to New England on the far side of the field. Benson knocked over by Patrick Young. Choppy would be my best word to describe the second half so far. Disjointed, perhaps.
Well, you've got a New England group with the exception of two. Slight advantage in terms of stability. Chicago group still finding their footing. They do that with a one-time leader, Logan Moss. Moses roll now.
Arroyo won the header to start this play for New England. Kiermaier though able to get back for Chicago. Chicago already has right back options in Palmer, Franco, who we're seeing at midfield here, and Kinney, who's in at center back, but Kiermaier, another one.
No turn, no foul! Organize!
Logan paused, broke that play up. Sunley tried to play it back in. Kiermaier stepping forward. I like the play by Franco there to read that Kiermaier had the angle, and Franco would just step over and take his right back spot. Through Americo's offside. Flag is up. both Gentili and Ameriqua with plenty of looks in our direction, and also the direction of Brandon Major. Ameriqua was asking how far, and a miss is as good as a mile in this one.
Snippets off. Man who helped start that late push for the Fire in the postseason. Struggling at the time. He had that fantastic goal in Salt Lake.
Mass substitutions coming for New England. We're going to write all of these down at the 62nd minute if you're scoring at home. You are. We're significantly impressed. Jamal Johnson came out after over 15 minutes on the field.
That's kind of their first look at what they had Saturday against Chivas. Chris Tierney making his return. League Defender of the Year. Jose Gonzalez. What you're facing.
Right away, Ameriqua straight up the gut, and it's knocked aside by Brad Knighton again. You want a man of the match, Brad Knighton is making a very good case.
I was going to say, if America facing Shari Joseph, who's back in camp with the Rebs, being let go by Seattle, and some miscommunication immediately there, and just talking about Ameriqua, and flair for the spectacular. Knight one better.
We're in the process of sorting this out, but it's mostly straightforward. Fagundes, Bunbury, and Mullins are the forwards for New England. As the corner kick is lashed over the top from a low delivery. To the midfield.
Substitution now playing number 11, Kellen Rowe. Number 5, AJ
Steve
Soar.
Newman stayed in,
Number 47,
joined by Kellen Rowe, Shari Joseph sitting behind him. Chris Tierney in at left back. AJ Soares and Jose Gonzalez, the center backs. And Josimar Sanchez stayed in at right back.
Bravo! Bravo!
And Jose Gonzalez,
He's got a cut.
has got some sort of knock. Minutes after coming in, so he will be looked at by the New England training staff. Knighton had already signaled to the bench that he would suggest a sub. It looks like New England will do so. I think it's going to be Darius Barnes coming back in for Gonzalez.
I know the severity of this. Chances. It's always a tough cat. The game at the end of the regular season last year. Their playoff berth and a 1-0 win on the road.
So Soares and Barnes are at the back for New England now, with Sanchez outside on the right, Tierney outside on the left. One thing we should note, we can break a little news here. Well, it's already been broken. The Vancouver Whitecaps via Twitter broke the news. They have, oh boy, this one passed back and runs wide of Kyle Rainish. Looks like Patrick Kihani sending that one back and almost rolled straight in. Luckily for the Fire, it went out for a corner kick. Revs take it quickly. Rose delivery. Rainish got a fist to it and a big one. And Ameriqua to put away for the moment for Chicago. Now it's out for a throw-in. I will continue the transaction story, if I may. The Whitecaps breaking on Twitter that they have received a 4th-round pick in the 2016 MLS draft in exchange for the MLS rights to Daigo Kobayashi, who's been who's joined the Reds in preseason camp here, originally known as the infamous Player X, and he is here in uniform again. Not in the game at the moment, but the Revolution today, during this game, apparently have acquired the MLS rights to Kobayashi, so curious to see how that plays out.
Very good start to his season.
Neat play by Soares to turn out of trouble and find Kellen Rowe. Well, and you think about the history of Vancouver-New England transactions. Lee Wynn was cut by Vancouver, picked up by New England, became a starter. Curious to see if they can strike twice there with Kobayashi. Rowe sees his pass a little too far for New, collected by Rainish.
One team's junk could be another team's jewel.
And Marco Franco down to one knee for Chicago. I don't know what has sent the injury bug in the air, but it's hit both teams a little bit here early in the second half.
Guy was the Big West Defender of the Year in 2013.
This is one where you're very glad that if you're going to get injured, it's after you've signed your contract. The out-of-town scoreboard in Major League Soccer preseason action today. Earlier today, Sporting Kansas City, using a mostly reserve squad, beat the Indy 11 from the NASL 4-2. Claudio Bieler had a hat trick, although 2 of those 3 were penalty kicks, and Mikey Lopez also scored for Kansas City. Pedro Mendes, both goals for Indianapolis. Toronto and Philadelphia played to a scoreless tie in the Disney Pro Soccer Classic. I don't know anything else about the game, so I can't tell you. Scoreless tie. New York beat the Fluminense under-23 team 1-0, also in the rain in Orlando. Ruben Bover with a free kick for the Red Bulls goal. In Charleston, South Carolina, at the wonderful Blackbaud Stadium, the Sounders and the Dynamo were tied 1-1 at halftime. Brad Davis opened the scoring for Houston. Obafemi Martins tied it up for Seattle. And I'm sure there has been a scoring update since then, but we will pass it on to you once we get it. The other game in the Disney Pro Soccer Classic that is currently going on, Orlando City. It's one of its first MLS signings, Darwin Seren, scoring in the 30th minute. Orlando leads the Columbus Crew 1-0 in that game. Later today, Charleston against DC in Carolina, Montreal against Kansas City in Orlando, Vancouver against San Jose, and Portland against the Jamaican team Portmore United in Portland. It's the out-of-town scoreboard. So Marco Franco on the sideline getting treatment. And Chicago playing with 10 at the moment. Patrick Mullins into the game for New England. This one sent across and headed away by Piermeyer as New England tried to take advantage of the 11v10 situation. They do get a corner out of it. We got Mullins in one of the wide forward spots for New England. Back-to-back Herman Trophy Award winner. And Kellen Rowe going to trot over to take the corner for New England. 69th minute, no score between the Rebs and the Fire. Rowe sends it in, headed away at the near post by Paul. This is Sanchez in the center circle. Sprays it wide for Rowe. He has tried to feed it back to Kellen Rowe, but it's easy pickings for Kyle Rainish. Great to see Diego Fernandez on the field. We saw him in Bradenton. He wasn't quite at full health. One of the rising stars in Major League Soccer. Always a fan favorite. Mullins feeds him here. Layoff falls to Bunbury. Gonna hit it. Off the mark to the right. Good sign. That combination play at the top of the box for New England.
Very nicely on Saturday in Bunbury's opening goal in a Reb shirt. Playing those long direct balls over the top. A little setup layoff for Ryan. Accurate star.
That trade and the Austin Berry trade were both ones where when it happened you said, yep, that makes sense. One team got exactly what it needed and the other team had a little more cap space. Exactly what it needed. Here's Showery Joseph in the middle of the field. Switch to Sanchez on the right. Under some pressure here. Has to go all the way back to Knight, who's been very good today. I've got him with 4 saves, a couple of them well above average, you would say. Wind whipping around. It's slightly in New England's favor in this second half. Still looking for our first goal of the day. Chivas USA and the Colorado Rapids were scoreless. As Piermeyer heads away for Chicago.
Nice effort.
America looked well offside, but no flag. He played through it. There's Pineda, thinks about shooting. Tuba has Hunter Jumper getting into the attack. Chance to cross. Behind Gentili and knocked away by Chris Tierney for New England. It'll be a Fire throw-in. Marco Franco is back on the field, so we are 11 v 11.
We'd really be remiss to get talk about all the additions we have been discussing on the field for the Fire. The coaching staff that Gallup has brought along. I think it's really going to help defensively. Mr. Fire himself, one of C.J. Brown, Clint Mathis. Career speaks for himself. Speaks for itself.
Keep going. There's more. You want to feed it? Rose pass knocked away there. Unbreaking possession for New England. No, I think Chicago's staff would do very well in a 5v5 tournament. So that was Willis, Brown, Mathis, and deflected on its way through, and Aaron Hyde.
For all the positive that Chicago had heading into last season, disappointment of not making the playoffs, and now secondly you're looking at 3 out of the last 4 years on the outside looking in.
1-2 there. Return pass for Pineda, though, was picked off by Kellen Rowe. Well, it's two teams, two clubs that we're looking at today who were among the elite in the early days of MLS. And they're having to adjust to kind of the larger competition. And the changing Eastern Conference with Houston and Kansas City coming in have really done well. And New York has certainly last year figured it out a bit. That cross deflected, going to run out for a New England corner again. Kellen Rowe again. 12 goals, 10 assists in all competitions last year. 7 and 8 in MLS, but when you factor in the playoffs and the Open Cup, 12 goals and 10 assists in 38 games. Heck of a year for Kellen Rowe, and he did most of his damage from May on. His back post with this one. Rainish wasn't convincing. It's Newman, and it's blocked by a flying Patrick Ianni. Very brave play by the Lodi, California man there.
Just feeling good to be healthy. Patrick Ianni. Good fracture, keeping out 18 games last season. Talking about Kellen Rowe, but Federal Way, Washington, just south of Seattle on the 99, becoming a hotbed for MLS players.
Showery Joseph, the latest player to come up with a knock, and he walks off the field with the training staff. And Gorka Larea is going to re-enter. Here at the 75-minute mark. All right. Preseason rules. Not a good sign for Showery Joseph.
Now playing number 43, Gorka Larea.
Thought maybe that would be our chance to see Kobayashi, but the same type of midfielder.
He got in 30-minute mark on Saturday.
Rowe makes a couple men miss and has to, and forces Kyle Rainish to knock that one wide. Nice moves by Kellen Rowe at the edge of the box, and New England is starting to pick up the pace.
If you've seen this kid hit some bombs during the regular season, pinpoint accuracy off that boot, especially in the run of play.
Chris Tierney will take this corner. It's from the right, and he delivers an in-swinging left footer. Instead, he finds Newman at the top of the box, chipping it back post, and Kyle Rainish punches it away. With a man in his face. Now trying to counter via Amarikwa and Franco, with Piermeyer overlapping. Now it's Pineda in the corner for Chicago. It's cross, brought down by the catch of A.J. Source. First time we've called his name in about 10 minutes, it seems like. Nunez finds some space on the sideline and trying to slip one inside. Bunbury, but it's been broken up. Reyes steps forward, wins it for New England, and tries to jumpstart the attack. Things down. We'll switch the field. Just wide open over there, and Rowe feeds it. Sanchez cross, cutting it back, brought down with a hand by Bunbury. If I can see it from here, I know Fotis Bazakos can see it from 10 yards away. It'll be a free kick to Chicago.
Sanchez had a little bit of time there. See a little bit more composure, could have delivered a better solid cross. Kind of ducked down after such a positive build-up play. A good switch on the point of the attack.
Here's Fagundes with some room up the middle, and it was knocked away by Logan Pause. With only space in front of Diego Fagundes, really. Pause was able to step in. Sanchez battles with Gentili, wins it for New England. Lillard turns it over and points up on the ground in the process. Minute in Tucson. No score between a couple of old Eastern Conference foes. See Amarikwa hard into that tackle and running from Barnes, who was all over in retaliation. Amarikwa able to hold it for Chicago. Tuba was offside by about 10 yards. Gentili off by maybe 2, but the flag is up. That'll be a free kick to New England.
Have what it takes to run an MLS team. Test your skills by playing MLS Fantasy Soccer Manager. The game is fun and free to play. Visit MLSsoccer.com/fantasy to learn more.
Have you built your lineup yet?
No, I'm going to be a late bloomer as well, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. Kids come to the party at the last minute. On ball picked off by Jumper for Chicago. Right now, whistle for a foul. He protests, as does James. Probably fortunate our microphones are on the opposite side.
We got a little hot under the collar at the end of that Chivas game Saturday night.
We got a little hot under the collar in last year's tournament as well when Osvaldo Alonso and Chris Tierney got into it.
Season's out here to their campaign, the Revs in Arizona. Speaking of team from Boston, tickets are on sale now. Get your seat to the biggest games of 2014 and save money in the process. For information, call 877-GET-REVS or log on to Revolution Soccer.
RevolutionSoccer.net also thankfully provides the updated preseason roster regularly. Soares drives a switch there for Mullins on the far side. And Cheaper get tangled up and throw in to New England.
Thanks to the media and PR staffs for helping us out over the course of the month.
Eunice Kim as well from Chicago. Rowe in his own half going long, looking for Sanchez. Able to keep it in, gets it into the penalty area. Here comes Tierney. Gets onto his left foot. Chris Tierney has it blocked by a sliding Rainish. Out for a corner kick again. So many elements of that play did not look exactly how they were planned, yet they ended up with a scoring chance.
Chris Tierney has a very diversified portfolio on the field, comfortable in all positions. He's made something out of that. Rainish is foul and free kick upcoming. There's some good goalkeeping coming out.
Marco Franco fouling Kellen Rowe as he was moving toward the middle of the field. He's going to give up a free kick in a really dangerous spot for New England. 82nd minute as we look for somebody, anybody, to break through.
Some sustenance.
I don't know about you, but I prefer games that have goals.
I think we all do.
Fagundes, Rowe, and Tierney stand over it. Fagundes and Rowe both adjusting it at the same time, so that leads you to wonder who's going to hit it. Great look at it, 5 in the wall. It's Fagundes right into the wall. Didn't hit it at all as he wanted. It'll be a New England throw-in.
Make a bold prediction though and say we will have goals in the final.
I am not going to argue against you, if only because I hope you're right. Teal Bunbury in the box, drops it off to Rowe. Tuba did well to stay with him there. Soares chips it through for Tierney. Drives it low and he didn't hit it hard. Rainish didn't hold on to it at all. And Chicago is able to clear it. Tuba. Mazzagos to bring it back to an earlier foul. It was all happening there, but A.J. Soares started it with a heck of a ball through for Tierney.
Yeah, excellent footwork on the instep to control it before the byline.
I'm going to say both Rainish and Nasco, guys who came in after excellent seasons in the NASL, have not looked all that comfortable holding crosses today. Been a lot of punching, and in that case, one that I think probably Kyle Rainish would have preferred to hold. Couldn't get a firm grip on it.
Because of that free spill.
Bunbury, yeah. Live to Teal Bunbury. Free kick in front of us. Logan Hawes walking the ball to the spot. Leading it for Victor Pineda. He'll turn 21 in May. This is his 4th MLS season. Serves it in here, going back post, and it's over everybody. For a Brad Knight goal kick.
Fourth MLS season, still looking for that first senior team appearance.
Plainfield East High School.
20 World Cupper.
Just to complete the bio, his sister played for Mexico at the Under-17 World Cup 2 years ago. We too can use Google. Sanchez with a throw in for New England on the right side. Out of St. Benedict's Prep, the soccer powerhouse in Newark, New Jersey. Moves by Franco to get it to Pineda. Trying to keep it moving, but Larea will win it for New England. Nice cut by Piermeyer, who's been pretty solid in that right back spot. I don't know what his salary number is, but seems a solid option. The area chance to shoot, and Brad Knighton is there again. Quincy Amarikwa looks skyward, wondering what the Fire are going to have to do to beat Brad Knighton today.
Well, he gets the gold star for the performance in this one. Neither team has created a whole heck of a lot. A few opportunities where the Fire have been threatening. Knighton has worn the armor.
Atuba left footed, headed it off the mark. Near post by Hunter Jumper. Actually hit the flagpole, so you can say he was on the wrong mark. It'll be a goal kick for Brad Knighton. You see Brad Knighton shielding his eyes, and you see some of the glare from the bleachers. We're getting the same glare, as is our near side linesman Brandon Major, shielding his eyes on all offside decisions. So Quincy Amarikwa wants to push the rules, and we know he does. Now might be the time. Terry chasing this one into the corner. He's got Amarikwa in the middle. Feeds Pineda. Took a touch. And it's cleared by Kellen Rowe for New England. And the Jumper though wins it back. Jumper's cross backdoor. Drifted in on goal. Brad Knighton had no problem with it. That touch by Pineda was, you wanted that to be hit first time.
Yeah, it's an empty calorie touch, is really what it is. Take it back inside, put it on frame, do something with it. Allow the defense to get back in the
end. 3 minutes and change to play. I'm sure we'll have some shoelace time at the end of the second half. No score between the New England Revolution and the Chicago Fire on this Tucson afternoon. But man, is it pretty. Amarikwa holding off first Sanchez, and now Mullins wins the throw in for Chicago. Not afraid to throw his weight around.
Carries a heavy mantle. And people asking the question, the famous question, if you're a goal scorer in college, can you continue that on a consistent level here in the pros? It's a tiresome question, but he's got the tools.
Played at UC Davis from 2005-2008, setting goal scorer for the Aggies. Tuba floats this one in, looking for Yanni, heads it down the right at Brad
Knighton. Well, there was some separation with the Yanni. It was a decent ball, but it was losing steam on planet Earth. Not able to get much on it in the direction of the keeper.
It's a save via the technical definition, and you give Knighton his 6th save of the day if you follow that line of thinking. Looking for Amarikwa from Franco, but he wasn't able to really get around it. And once again, it's at the feet of Brad Knighton. Tierney sends this one long. Bunbury gives chase, and it's hit backward by Stephen Kinney. And rolls into the grateful hands of Kyle Rainish. We'll have the late game for you as well. Real Salt Lake taking on the host, FC Tucson. Mismatch players all over the place, to be honest. Tierney headed that one back with a little indecision, but it rolls tonight.
Fancy, fourth official has indicated there will be 2 minutes of stoppage time. 2 minutes of stoppage
1 minute of
time.
shoelace time, 1 minute of stoppage time beyond that. It's our total of 2 minutes past 90 that we'll have today. Patrick Mullins trying to create some space, leaves it for Kellen Rowe. Little chipped 1-2, back to Kellen Rowe. What a goal from the New England Revolution. Mullins, Rowe, Fagundes, and back to Kellen Rowe for the finish. That is outstanding.
Well, a tag on the toe is Kellen Rowe making the difference in this one. This great sequence of interplay. Timing of the run, slotting that calling past Rainish. This quick little 1-2 touch soccer, not much to it. Finding its way through that fire central defense.
In the end, it was Fagundes returning the pass with a header down into the path of Rowe, and a good finish to get past Rainish. Waited a long time for a goal, Neil. That was a goal worth waiting for. Long ball here looking for Ameriqua, trying to return the favor. He hit the crossbar. Lindsay Ameriqua so close again. We've got quite a finish here in Tucson.
Mentioned earlier, the dramatic goal last year at Salt Lake. Nearly a stunner here to tie things up. The first loss for the Fire of the preseason.
That's going to do it. What a finish. Kellen Rowe with a sensational goal at the 91st minute, and in the 92nd minute of 92, Lindsay America rang the crossbar from outside. And New England comes away with a 1-0 win. Again, it was a long wait, but boy was there payoff for the Revolution from their starters in that second half. And Neil, as we saw in the first game, that second group really added some quality when they came on.
Yeah, there was clear dissension in who was on the field for each club while the minutes winded down, but you could sense that if New England, or someone was going to have the breakthrough, it was going to be New England. Rowe, great little 1-2 with Fagundes. They work so well together. But on the other end, I mean, you get Kyle Rainish, who made a couple of nice saves. Brad Knighton,
6
big
saves
for New England and keeping it scoreless. Up until that point, Chicago knows they're playing in the tournament final as it is. But they've got a good run in the preseason so far. Did some good things in the first half. Kept them close defensively, and some of the guys who came off knock here and there are all right because you want to get out of here healthy.
Yeah, it's a good point. A lot of players left the game. Jose Gonsalves and Shalry Joseph, the notable ones for New England, and so we hope all is well on the injury front for them. The final here, New England 1, Chicago 0. What a winner from Kellen Rowe. Go to MLSsoccer.com later tonight. They'll have a couple of looks at it because it was special. It was a really top-class goal, worthy of the regular season that will start in a couple of weeks. The final score this afternoon, New England 1, Chicago 0. For our entire crew, from my partner Neil Sika, I'm Jonathan Yardley. Thanks for watching this afternoon. We'll take a quick break, come back in about half an hour with RSL and FC Tucson. But this afternoon, New England 1, Chicago 0, the final.
Ladies and gentlemen, FC Tucson is proud to welcome you to the North Stadium and Keno Sports Complex for tonight's Desert Diamond Cup match between Real Salt Lake and your FC Tucson. Tonight's match is sponsored by Adidas, Alpha Graphics, Bianchi's Italian Restaurant, Budweiser, Harp International, Chapman Automotive of Tucson, Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment, the law firm of Carp & Weiss, Simply Bits, Tucson Water, and Verizon. FC Tucson would like to thank its sponsors and once again welcome you to the North Stadium and Keno Sports Complex for the Desert Diamond Cup. Tucson.